begin? Welcome, you guys. My name is Pablo, and I have Jamie and Natalie here with me.
Hey.
Today, we are going to be talking about a couple different things, but mostly our discussion is going to revolve around house hacking.
Yep, house hacking. If you've never heard of that term before, it's been around for a while. They just rebrand.
Bigger Pockets, Deeper Pockets podcast talks a lot about this because when you think about it, Natalie, what's people's biggest expense typically?
Their housing payment.
Yeah. So house hacking really refers to how do you hack away at that biggest expense so that you can actually live a life by design and achieve financial freedom.
And we're not talking with the axe, right?
We're not talking about that. No, not today. Not this time. So I know we had a couple people write in and have questions about what house hacking is. Do you have some of those for us, Jamie?
So as far as house hacking, they were asking if we can do it with either an ADU or duplex, or what's the most popular way to house hack?
The easiest way to house hack is if you have a single family home, you're single, you're living by yourself, and then you're renting out the additional rooms to roommates. That's kind of where all of this came up. Now, if you live in an area like ours, house hacking in a single family home, it's a little bit harder. So we do recommend looking for a duplex, triplex, or ideally a fourplex.
I think a lot of first-time home buyers may not quite understand is the myth that they need a full 20 or even 25% down.
Okay.
Going from 2 units to 3 units to 4 units.
Well, I was going to ask, how low can they go with the down payment if they were to do house hacking?
So with FHA, you can actually continue the 3.5% minimum down payment all the way up to 4 units.
Now, FHA, that doesn't mean it's only for first timers?
No, but it does have to be a primary residence. So if you end up opting for 4 units, you need to live in one of the units for at least 12 months. After that 12-month period, you can get out, add another renter, or I guess 4 units that are being rented. And you can go and buy another primary home.
With that same 3.5% FHA.
Oh, that's actually really brilliant. I don't think that many people have actually been talking about how they can use the FHA loan to their advantage this way. Because most people usually assume it's for first time.
And there are stipulations, of course, that come with the FHA program. So you can only borrow up to a certain amount depending on the county that you're living in. Condition of the property also takes precedence, right?
Mm-hmm. There's definitely more requirements for FHA when it comes to like the appraisal, making sure the property is well sound. But actually, FHA, you can purchase up to $2.1 million in Santa Clara County with 3.5% down. So they really increase their loan amounts. There's a lot of flexibility. There is upfront mortgage insurance and monthly mortgage insurance. So, you want to make sure that you're running all the numbers to make sure that it's a smart investment, but you don't have to purchase up to the ceiling. You can make it work for what you want to do.
And this is really important because, I don't know about you guys, but I know that growing up, I always heard that if you wanted to invest in real estate, you needed at least 20% down.
Yep, that's the myth.
Yeah.
What the FHA program teaches us is as long as I am going to be a primary residence, as long as I'm going to be living in the property myself, I can actually borrow up to, 96.5% of the value of the property. That's crazy.
If you had 5%, you can certainly do 5%. You're not married to doing the minimum down payment. It's just, the minimum.
Yeah, if you want your monthly payments to go down, then toss more money at it if you can.
Yeah. And what I would chat with my clients is, hey, this is what your cash flow is going to look like on year 1. This is what your cash flow is going to look like on year 2 after you move out and maybe buy another property. Maybe they have 20%, but they want to look at a 5-year plan, do 5% this year, and really spread their wealth through multiple different properties.
And I love that you brought that up because, again, so often we're taught debt is bad. If you can't buy it in cash, don't buy it at all.
Yeah.
But, if you had $100,000 in cash.
We talk about credit card hacking next time.
We talk about credit card. Yeah, we should. Definitely should. You have $100,000. Would it make more sense to buy one property all cash for $100,000? Buy 5 properties
over a 5-year span.
Or whatever that might be. At $20,000 down each.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's definitely making more of your money work for you and also leveraging all the bank's money as well. I've been talking about this with some of my friends. I wish I had paid attention to the Monopoly game more when I was a kid and just realized that was actually real life because that's what we were trying to teach you.
With your initial property, a lot of counties in Northern California and around California just in general are wanting owners that have enough land to put in these additional dwelling units. There's not enough housing in California as it is, and we have wildfires which also burn up all of our houses. So even if all of the new houses came on the market today, we still don't have enough homes. ADUs, in-law units, all of these are actually helping the economy as well.
And also ADUs include garage conversions, which some people kind of forget about. So.
Yeah. Just make sure that you're doing all of this work with permits and jumping through the right hoops so that it doesn't bite you in the butt when you go to sell.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you did something unpermitted, they're going to catch that. It's not going to be good for when we're doing inspections either if your Uncle Larry decides to come in with a hammer and start knocking down everything.
Yeah. And then that's another, it's another can of worms when you're trying to get financing if it's not permitted.
Another way people use house hacking is for their kids. So if you have a newborn or they're still in their toddler years, I've heard people buying properties for their kids so that when they're 15, 16, 17, they can actually start learning how to do the property management. They can learn about the risk. They can learn about what it really takes to run and manage a property.
Yeah.
And when they're 18, they're ready to go to college. They can either sell that property and use that to finance college, or they can sell that or refinance that and use it to buy a property in the college town that they can then house hack to the roommates and sell for an appreciation when they graduate in 4 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different avenues.
Well, if we think about it, if we're talking about college education, so if we're putting money just straight into a 5126 account just for your kids' college fund, we can take a look at the interest rates on that versus the appreciation of putting money down on a home. In the long run, your appreciation on the home, depending on the area, with some places, especially in the Bay Area, if you were to do that here, your kid's going to be well set for college, even if they hit Stanford.
Yep.
Another question. Do I have to be a landlord? If we're house hacking, do I have to be a landlord or do I need roommates? Or how do some people set these things up? Do they do property management?
There's a lot of different ways. Great question. You do not need to own a property or be a landlord to start house hacking. Though if you are going to be a landlord, there are classes that you have to take so that you know what you're doing. But no, there's people who have built their real estate portfolio with short-term rentals by going to property owners and saying, hey, I can go ahead and help you rent this out. I'll furnish the property. I'll put it on Airbnb. I'll make sure that it's cleaned out. You'll get your rent at the end of every month, but are you okay with me using the property and me pocketing the profits? So there's people who are actually house hacking without
living in a property.
Not living in it.
They're house hacking other people's houses.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yep. So they're not even paying the mortgage. They're just paying rent and making way more money.
So they're paying the rent.
Yeah. So
and then they're short-term Airbnb-ing it.
Yep, they're furnishing it, they're renting it out, they're doing all the cleanup.
Wow.
Sometimes even the minor remodels, so the home ends up looking nicer.
Yeah.
But as long as they have an agreement in place
With the owner.
with the property owner.
Of course.
that they can do short term.
That's pretty cool.
Also a short term, if you are going to be house hacking or you're doing short term, there are a lot of counties or even cities that do not allow short term rentals under 30 days. So that's going to be something that you're going to want to do research out before. Or, you're just going to buy the home and be shit out of luck.
Yeah,
Totally.
Airbnb has ruffled quite a few feathers. So make sure that as we're talking about these different strategies that you're checking your local
County
ordinances.
websites, yeah. We went through that when we bought our Sonoma house. We wanted to do Napa, but then we just learned quickly there's just the regulations. Could you imagine if we bought and then we couldn't turn it into our Airbnb? That would have been awful.
That would have been terrible.
Exactly. Learn a lot, and then even if you are watching this video 2 years from now, a lot of this stuff is evergreen. You just have to always make sure that all the laws, if you're in California, our politicians love to just enact new laws all the time.
Yeah, we'd like to make things a little more difficult.
Exactly. But if you're watching this from other places, sometimes the sky is the limit depending on your local government. So house hacking. I guess house hacking, if you are a landlord and you're renting a room to somebody, that is also technically house hacking because they're paying your mortgage, right?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're a landlord, you're technically house hacking because you're having somebody else pay the mortgage that you yourself acquired. So it's like, hey, I'm going to borrow $10 from Natalie, but instead of me paying back that $10, I'm going to charge Jamie here $2 to sit in this chair every month, and I'm just going to use that $2 to pay Natalie, right? So I was able to borrow these 2 chairs. I'm not really having to pay for my chair, and Natalie at the end of the day is still getting paid.
Yeah. Okay. Now, also, we've all heard of those like roommate or tenant nightmare stories. So that's something that people probably should study about before they get into all of this, and also really, really vet out the people that they're going to be living with or renting out to.
Oh, yes.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think we all have a nightmare roommate story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's never easy to live with someone else, especially like the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that you're taking the
Try
time
it before
to
you buy it.
try it before you buy it.
Go on a vacation with somebody if you're
That's
living
actually like
in
a
that.
great way of testing out somebody. Take them to an airport
Oh, yeah, that's great.
and just see how they deal with a delay.
That's when I knew I was going to marry my husband. We went to Europe, and I was like, oh, this is going to
easy.
work.
Yeah. If you really want to test, take them to Vegas.
Well, you might not remember when you get back.
Oh, but that's what phones are for.
It's true. If only we had a small device we could record things with.
Yeah. So I think that probably wraps up everything because we're going to go a little bit further into all the discussions on ways that you can create wealth and generational wealth for yourself and your family.
Awesome. Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.